In this video, I'm going to show you how to fix these stairs. And we're going to do it right now. Okay, so these are my back stairs. And what I have going on here is a mess. So this stuff, I'm guessing what happened was this was patched at one time. And what happens is if it's not done properly, the patch starts coming away, and we have winters here where ice will melt, water gets down behind this, it'll freeze, and it'll push the patch out like that. So I think that's what happened here. So I have a little spot right here too, where this is just falling apart too. So this is what I'm gonna use. Some quick setting cement. Even says right there, repair broken corners and edges. And this stuff is cool because you can actually mold it, where in a lot of cases you would do a form, which is, you know, some 2x6s or 2x8s that go like this, and then you would mix this up loose and pour it. But instead, this stuff, you can just mix it and kind of shove it in there and mold it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So here we go. The first step is clean out all of this stuff that's just not very well attached anymore. And you want to get all this out. It looks like sand. You want to just remove any loose particles, and I'm going to grab a chisel and a hammer and try and get some of this stuff off, just all the loose stuff. So that's my first step. Just want to make sure anything you attach to is solid. So go ahead and like poke around like this. I'm gonna have to vacuum all that sand out of there. It might seem solid, but if it has cracks in it, it's probably on its way out. Well, I think I can fill that. Make that look good. This is called a cold chisel. You don't want to use a wood chisel or a chisel for wood. This is actually for masonry. Yeah, and at some point I'll take care of this. Not just yet, though. So I'm just going to try and clean this up with a wire brush to get all the loose sand out of this concrete. So now, just to add a little strength to this, I'm going to use these Tapcons, which are concrete screws basically, and I'm going to drill some holes and attach them in here at random points, and that is going to be another thing for the concrete to wrap around and hold into place. Almost like these are going to be like little pieces of rebar, basically, if you know what those are, the metal pieces in concrete that make it stronger. So I'm just going to put these in a couple places so that cement will hold on to those and just create a stronger bond. Want to make sure those are passed, they're not sticking out. Cool, do a couple more. Now I'm going to take a sponge. I'm going to wet this down and clean up any dust that's left over. And let that dry for a little bit. Okay, so when it comes to mixing this stuff, they do have what's called an acrylic fortifier. It's a liquid that you pour in, and it strengthens the concrete. It's recommended to use with concrete or cement that's going to be over 1 inch. So I could use that, but I'm just going to use water because I'm going to use this stuff, and they don't recommend using both of those together. This is a concrete bonding adhesive, and basically you take this and you brush it up against the old concrete, and the new cement will stick to that. It'll help it stick. And since that's the issue that I was having, this was not sticking to the old concrete, I'm going to try everything I can to make that happen by way of these Tapcons and this adhesive, and I'll just skip the fortifier. I'm going to take this adhesive, and I have an old brush here that I don't really care about, and then I'm just going to brush it right on that old concrete, including up here where this new cement is going to touch, and around those Tapcons. I'm just going to spread it out over the whole thing. Now 5 to 10 minutes, I'll let that dry, and as soon as it's dry, I want to start filling that in with my cement. Okay, it's almost dry, so I'm going to start mixing up my cement. And everything about this is going to be quick. So you got to mix it quickly, you have to use it quickly, because it dries quickly. So I have a bucket, I'm going to use this bucket, I have my water, I have a trowel, and I'm going to dump some of this in, some water in, and mix it up. You don't want to mix more than you're actually going to use. So let's mix it up. And the trick is getting the right consistency and making sure there's no clumps. Everything's mixed well. Okay, that is a pretty good consistency. It's a little more loose than I would like it to be, but that's going to dry up real quick. So let's start filling that in. I got some gloves and start loading this up. So what you're going to want to do is kind of layer this stuff. So just make sure you're pushing it in there. There's no air pockets or anything. And this stuff is going to dry probably 5 to 10 minutes. It'll start to dry up, and you can shape it. You just want to get all the big spots right now. And it's not going to be perfect against the asphalt. We'll have to figure out what to do with that after. Now the trick on the corners is to load it up more than where the actual corner is going to be, and then you can shape it as it dries. That's looking pretty good. Looks pretty straight on both edges. Now you'll notice that there's kind of a strange profile right here. So what I'm gonna do is just try and match it my best, and just take my finger and kind of make it so it's not completely like a sharp edge. You can see I could do like a little edge right here. I'm sure there's a tool that can do that, but I'm gonna do it with my finger. And it doesn't have to be perfect. We just want to make it look similar. The profile matches pretty good. Like I said, it's not perfect, but neither are these stairs. So you just got to do what works for you. And then you can take a sponge and kind of feather the edges once it's dry enough. And you can take, and on the whole thing, just kind of give it a texture, just like the other concrete. Very carefully, make sure it's dry enough. I'm gonna say that looks pretty good. Edges are all nice and feathered in. This profile looks pretty good. Round this edge over a little bit, make it match. That's feathered in. Yeah, that looks good. Now I'm gonna do the same thing for that one. That one should be easier because it's not on the corner. Just make it nice and straight and finish it with a sponge. All set. I think that looks way better than it did. So if it was really hot, 80, 90 degrees, I would try and keep this wet. I would spray it with some water, put some plastic over it so it would cure properly. But it is perfect temperature right now, about 65, 70 degrees. So I'm just gonna let it cure, and that's it. Repair done. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it helped you out. If you want to see more videos like this, you can click here-ish and here-ish and check those out. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We got a ton of more home repair stuff like this on the way. So thanks for watching.